G'day Art Snackers, my name is James of James Luke Burke Creative and welcome to another ArtSnacks Box Freestyle where we take the supplies from the summer 2024 ArtSnacks Box, experiment with them to within an inch of their lives and then create absolute masterpieces for the hashtag ArtSnacks Challenge. Well, we try to anyway. My fun fact for this quarter is I have lived in the States for almost 8 years and 2 weeks ago I went to my very first baseball game. Have no idea how the game is played. All I know is that our team won, so that was great. But I finally went. Anyway, let's get into the box and see what we have to play with. Here is the ArtSnacks Summer 2024 box. Here is everything inside, and let's take a closer look at what we'll be playing with today. First up in the box, we have the Van Gogh Drawing and Sketching Spiral Bound Paper Pad, size 8.3 inches by 11.7 inches. We also have a set of 4 King Art Pro color brush pens. This is an ArtSnacks exclusive. We'll be using a Lyra water-soluble graphite crayon 6B, as well as a Lyra graphite crayon holder, and a King Art Inkline fine line ink pens set of black pens. There are 6 of those, as well as a Montana acrylic marker 2mm fine tip. I have the color Shock Lilac, and a Marabou Fluid Arts water brush. We have the snack and sticker. Let's get everything set up and start playing. It's so nice to be back. I feel like it's been ages since I've last seen you all. So happy summer, everyone, 2024. I hope you're having a wonderful summer. I certainly am. This is literally my favorite time of the year. I used to chase the sun around the world and do contracts on cruise ships and literally just live in the sun 24/7, 365. So summer really brings out the best in me. Hopefully you can see that today. I've got my handy dandy ArtSnacks menu in front of me and I just want to read, as per usual, all of the fantastic details about the supplies that I'll be experimenting with first and then using to create my ArtSnacks challenge pieces. There are 10 of them today. Cannot wait to get into all that. First up, we have the Van Gogh Drawing and Sketching Spiral Bound Paper Pad. That's what I'm using to test everything on. This is the one sketchbook for all your dry media needs. The Van Gogh Drawing and Sketch Spiral Bound Paper Pad. You'll find 40 sheets of fine grain paper in this pad, ideal for graphite, and colored pencils, charcoal, pastels, crayons, or a light wash. You'll achieve even shading and deeper tones with this surface. Nice bright white paper pad. The emphasis here on dry media, but you can see I'm still using it for a lot of wet media applications. It's going to buckle, of course. It's totally not a problem, especially since it's a sketch pad. I think most people use sketch pads to kind of get down rough ideas and do a lot of sketching. There's a pro tip warm-up down here. Well, it says pro tip warm up. Warm up sketches offer an opportunity to loosen up your fingers and wrist as well as focus on specific skills from line work to shading. We recommend taking a few minutes to fine tune your technique before diving into an art piece. So Sketchpad is great for that, especially this because it's perforated. You can rip those pages out and do whatever you need to do with them. And I do love a good little warm up. Technically, most of my drawings become my warm-ups because I don't care too much to make finished pieces, but you'll see how we get on today. Oh, there's a little pro tip. If you've got water-based markers, you can do tip to tip and get a nice ombre shading effect, a little gradient out of your pen. It's a little fun little hack. Only do it with those water-based markers though. Acrylic ones, it's going to be trickier, and then alcohol-based markers, I don't think they work as well as the water-based markers, from what I remember. Anyway, I'll go on to the next. This is an ArtSnacks exclusive, the King Art Pro Color Brush Pens, set of 4. We specially curated this pack of King Art Pro Color Brush Pens just for art snackers. Create fine, medium, or bold brush strokes with these vivid pens. The water-based ink is perfect for blending and layering colors, and you saw me do that tip to tip over there. You can see how reactive they are with water there. I love a good water-based marker. They're also great for journals, and I'm a big art journaler because they don't tend to run through the paper. Alcohol markers will eat through 55 sheets at once, which, even though I love them, can be quite irritating. But for journals, water-based markers tend to work the best. And if you use coated papers, they don't tend to be as streaky. This is not a coated paper, but nevertheless, we found some good applications for those, especially with that water brush. The Lyra water, I don't know if it's Lyra or Lyra. I'm going with Lyra. This is a staff favorite, the water-soluble graphite crayon. The Lyra water-soluble graphite crayon is a pencil in disguise. This crayon offers unique possibilities for expression, creating different effects based on the pressure applied and level of hardness. But wait, there's more. The shiny graphite is also water soluble, so you can blend it with a wet brush. And thank goodness we have that water brush in the box this month, so that we can, well, this quarter I should say, so we can blend all of that out. You'll definitely see me take it for a spin here. I'm going to stop with the menu just for a second so I can let you know what I'm doing for this ArtSnacks challenge. There are 10 self-portraits. I'm actually right in the middle of creating my next workshop, and it's very much a workshop about kind of diving into your inner self and the you of the past, the you of the present, the you think you're going to be in the future. It's very self-reflective. It's art journaling. It's been so much fun to put together, but I'm really in that space right now. And as with all art, I mean, I think we tend to go with where we're being inspired, and since I'm doing all of that, I found it really hard to even think of anything else I could do today than to just draw all these self-portraits. And especially because I've been doing this within the workshop, switching up my supplies and doing different approaches and kind of being very intuitive about it and letting go of all of my, feelings about how it should look and what it should depict and how, my likeness should be represented. I've really just been kind of letting it happen very organically. You got a bunch of different supplies that you're playing with. I found this was a really great way to put them through their paces and really kind of feature different effects that I was experimenting with, and I don't know, just really kind of make the most of what was in the box. I especially loved using that big old graphite crayon. It is really just a humongous big fat pencil, and especially with that holder. And I love a pencil holder too. I actually have a bunch of these. I don't have anything that thick, so this one feels very industrial. Makes me feel like I'm being very expressive when I'm drawing. But these are all self-portraits, and to varying degrees of a resemblance. Some of them are a little bit more caricature-y. I tend to focus on the features of my face that I do know kind of make up my face, but I think it's really funny because you always look at people's own self-portraits and you get a good sense of what they think they look like. I'm not saying I drew any of these and think this is exactly what I look like, but there are certain features, like I will always draw my nose kind of long and straight. I always draw my face really long and really stick out pointy ears. But as my face has aged too, I add in a lot more lines, like for expression and for wrinkles, and my eyes kind of have these Nike swoosh uptick, a downwards check mark kind of a look. They're very hooded. I have really bushy eyebrows, and I'm generally rocking a beard, but I haven't been for a while. But in my head, I still always have a beard when I think of what I look like. So I think self-portraits are really interesting. I don't know if we've done them here. I think I mentioned one of my fun facts ages ago was that my trial video for ArtSnacks, before I started my first ArtSnacks challenge, ArtSnacks Box Freestyle video, I did a self-portrait, but I don't think I've done one since. Have I? I can't remember. There must be over 30 videos at this point. There's so much. We have an archive over here. Anyway, I'm going to get into drawing these 10 self-portraits. 10 because I just felt like doing a ton of them. I was going to stop after 3, but honestly, I just kept on having a good time. So I wanted to just keep going and see where I got to. And I find it really interesting where I stopped, because I kind of stopped at the one that was my favorite. And that can be very indicative of like kind of my process sometimes, where I don't want to push it. If I'm happy, I'm happy, and I can just move on with that. Don't don't do it again just in case you fail at the next one, because I certainly don't think that. But I think once my once my satisfaction, once I've been satiated and I've had my good time, I'm happy to just move on from there. But I did enjoy a lot of the other ones. Some of them are just not very good, and I don't love them, but they weren't really supposed to be good. They were just supposed to be expressive, and I wanted to just really challenge myself to pick up different supplies each time I did it, and then lean in with whatever thought came into my head. I tend to work very intuitively, and if I have a thought, I always say like first thought, best thought, which is not true in most cases, but in art, I think it's one of those ways I can lead myself into the next step. I don't tend to overthink like, oh, will it look good? And will that even work? I'm not quite sure. I just go do it, especially with a sketch pad with 40 pages. I'm just going to go do it. If it doesn't work, move on to the next thing. Try something else. So anyway, this is my ArtSnacks challenge, 10 self-portraits for no particular reason, just because I'm on a journey of self-discovery with my new workshop, I guess. The Lyra Graphite Crayon Holder is a new product. Change up the way you hold a crayon with the Lyra Graphite Crayon Holder. This clutch holder with metal clamps is designed to hold large diameter, 11 or 12 millimeter pencils, crayons, or pastels. While holding a thick crayon is nice, putting it in a holder may offer a more comfortable experience. This crayon holder works best with the Lyra water-soluble graphite crayon, but if you have other chunky supplies of a similar size, give those a try too. Like those big chunky pencils. Where are they? I have them here on my desk somewhere. I don't even know where they've gone. Oh, here they are. They are the Stabilo Woody 3-in-1s. I imagine these are the same size. Let me just pop this out and see if I can pop one in here. Oh no, these are just a little too chunky, I think. Let me see. Can you hear me trying to get it in there? No, they're a little too chunky, the Stabilo Woody. But there are other things I'm sure you can pop in there. Or just keep your graphite pencil in there. This is huge. I don't imagine people will be going through this very quickly, so I'm just going to keep my graphite pencil in there. All right, the King Art Inkline Black Set of 6 fine liner pens. Whether you're jotting down quick sketches on the go or creating a masterpiece, King Art Inkline pens won't let you down. Say goodbye to smudging and smearing. These reliable fine liners feature archival, waterproof, and durable tips. They glide smoothly across paper with no skips, blots, or feathering. Each pen in this set is filled with rich black ink and includes 6 different nib sizes. There's a 005, you can see I'm using that right there, it's very, very thin. I always break those. It's not the pen's fault, I'm just very heavy-handed. And I don't mean break, but I just mean I dull the tip to the point where it's not a 005, it becomes a 01, which is also a size in the set. Then there's a 02, 03, 05, and 08, ranging from very, very hairline thin to quite bold, and 8 is quite bold. So you've got a nice variety of sizes there, and I like to switch them all up. I love a good line weight variation. I think I used 05s only, as the 005 on this, the thinnest one. We have the acrylic marker. Get a taste of Montana's bold street style with their 2mm acrylic marker. This handy tool can be used on almost any surface thanks to its light fast waterproof ink. Filled with water-based acrylic paint that's highly pigmented, this marker provides matte, vibrant coverage. It's also refillable, and the nib is replaceable, so you can use it for a lifetime. It's a good thing to have in art supplies, a nice reusable barrel and tip. This is Shock Lilac, the color. It's quite beautiful. It's a really deep, rich purple that gets very vibrant, and it matches the purple in the brush pens perfectly. So you got 2 different types of supplies that give you the same color, which can also really widen the opportunities you have to create certain effects and keep it within the same color story, so I enjoyed that. And the Marabou Fluid Arts Brush. Is convenient and versatile. Whether you're in the studio or on the go, it's great for any type of art to use. Simply unscrew the tip and fill the body with water, ink, watercolor, or whatever fluid art medium you want. I actually use one of these with a waterproof black ink that I've watered down to a gray. Becomes a great shading brush if you ever need to do quick shadows, especially for people that do lots of urban sketching, or you're just someone that does a lot of thumbnail sketching and you just want something. If it's waterproof, generally you can build those layers. So if you make it a nice kind of 50% gray, you can really add some beautiful light shadows and then layer it to add some more rich shadows, and you can create lots of tonal variety that way. So I always love a water brush for that personally. And I have some watercolor palettes that are filled with gouache and they're dehydrated, like they're dried out, and I love using them for that too. The gouache is just thicker and it takes a little bit more to reconstitute than watercolor, but I get kind of a semi-opaque look. It's much more opaque than watercolor, but I can't say it's truly flat matte, full coverage like gouache is, unless you really, really work it back to its former life before it was dehydrated. But still, I love using the water brushes for that too. It keeps it very loose, makes me feel like I don't have to fuss about with a ton of acrylic paints. Sometimes that's a big setup for me, but I want to be painterly, so I use the gouache in those watercolor tins, and the water brushes, I tend to just use that. Here I've used my finger to activate some of that graphite to smudge it around a little bit, and then I got really curious and just put a line of water to activate the graphite where I wanted to put shadows on one side of the face. Did not turn out as good as I wanted it to, because you can see I was just ripping the pages off once I'd finished and putting them over to the side. All of that water, that's the last time you'll see that look like that. All of that water traveled. It made like, what do you call, like it dripped. It dripped all over the different parts of the page, and so now it just looks like a mess, which is fine. I can always screenshot the video and just keep that as my memory if I wanted to get a good look at it. Isn't that tragic? I'm not very patient. I know this about myself, but I don't make any effort to correct it. I'm not a patient person. I'm not, what do you call it? Like, I'm not careful. I'm a bulldozer. I tend to just operate like I can have no grace and do everything and everything's going to be fine, but it's not true. I knock things over all the time. I have no patience to let things dry. I make a mess of everything. So it's not a great personality trait of mine. I'm just letting you know. That if you can manage to be patient, you'll have better results than myself, because I'm just ripping the things off and putting them over there, and I was stacking the papers on top of each other whilst they were wet, because in my head it doesn't really matter, and then I go to make the video and I think, well, now I've ruined half the pieces, so probably shouldn't have done that, but there we go. Anyway, I wanted to try one that was a profile. Don't love drawing profiles, I can tell you that much. This wasn't supposed to be very good. I wanted it to be a little bit more abstract and kind of document this half mullet thing that I've got going on right now. I had my hair cut the other day and I wanted something just a little bit different, but I wasn't being too adventurous, so I said just like a really mini mullet. So that's that. And then I had a thought to just kind of base the page in graphite and draw with the water brush and use that to kind of activate that graphite and draw a portrait that way. It was just a thought. I don't think it worked out super well, but it's interesting. It reminded me of those, you know, those pages like the scratch art, or the page has kind of some dry, I don't know if it's dry ink, like dye or something, but you use a water brush and then suddenly the color just kind of appears. It's for children's coloring books sometimes, they do that. You can just use water and the color will just kind of appear, like a magic trick. It was kind of the graphite soluble version of that, I guess. And this is the last piece. This is the piece where I kind of used a lot of the different ideas together. There's a lot of hatching, and that is really just a direct reference to the workshop that I'm putting together. There's been so much hatching involved, so I'm really in a hatching place right now. I loved the texture of that pencil, and I wanted to just keep some of that really loose, open texture of the graphite on the page. Some very, very tight, very densely packed hatching as well, just to keep some richness to some of those shadows. It's kind of hard to balance a lot of shadows in pieces like this, where you've got heavy ink that is black, and then heavy graphite that is really dark too, and then heavy colors like these deep purples. You're kind of using a lot of dark materials, and so to get a lightness, I tend to just keep everything very open, very high contrast, and just really focused shadows in the darkest parts of the face. But I wasn't using any references, so you know, it all kind of just worked out how it worked out. I like those cheeks. It kind of looks like pixels that have blurred a little bit. This one I think is one of my favorites. He just looks very sad. It's very not me. I'm very happy. So I'm assuming he lives inside me somewhere and he comes out whenever I'm sad. This one is hectic. I think this is too much. I think this was too many ideas and too many things all at once, but I'm giving you like a very quick critique. I don't really care that much. I had a good time doing them all, so I could say that I do like them all, but just to pick apart a few different things, I really like some of the finer details in this, but I also like the focus on the eyes and the shading that I did around the eyes, kind of pulling your attention in there. I thought that was interesting. This kind of topographical map of lines. This looks very kind of like those drawings of anatomy, like the muscular, you know, sectioning underneath the skin. I don't like that. It makes me uncomfortable, but I did it anyway. I did really like that before all of those drips went everywhere. I guess that's just what it is now, but I did like it before. This one looked better while it was wet. Once it had all dried, all of those things blended together, but just on the neck there, it looks like a prism that you've shone light through and it's kind of separated into its colors. I thought that was really pretty. I think this looks a little too cartoony for me to enjoy, if I'm honest. I think I wanted it to look a little bit more mature than how I drew it, but that's how it happened. This one wasn't my fave. Don't love it. I like the graphic nature of it though, and I like that I pared it back a little bit with some of the effects. So each of those different materials kind of stands on its own. And this was my favorite. I think this one has a bit more of a likeness. I like the vibe of this one. I like that I was a little bit more restrained. I didn't even do the ear on the other side, so it feels a little unfinished in a good way. And those are my 10 self-portraits for the ArtSnacks Challenge. Summer 2024. I hope you enjoy everything that's inside the box. This was a fun set of stuff to play with. I love a fine liner black ink pen. Definitely had a great time with this big old 6B water-soluble crayon. Can't wait to keep using that. And I'll leave you with the rest of this B-roll, and I'll join you for an outro in a second. There we go, there are my 10 self-portraits. Here's the 11th one. I hope you enjoyed seeing that video come together today. If you'd like to join ArtSnacks, you can do so using the code JAMES10 for 10% off at checkout, and don't forget to share your work with us in the Mix community and on social media with the hashtag ArtSnacks Challenge. We love to see what you get up to every quarter. Until next time, thanks for watching, bye.